We've all been taught from a young age to help others. After all, loving, serving, and lending a hand are part of the essence of those who want to live with purpose. But there's a truth that almost no one talks about. Not all help comes from God, and not everyone who asks for help really wants to change. The Bible doesn't tell you to close your heart, but it teaches something even more important: discernment. Because sometimes, helping someone who refuses to change is like trying to save someone who insists on staying in the middle of the storm. And in that effort, you end up drowning too. Often, the act of helping without direction becomes a burden, emotional exhaustion, and even disobedience. Today, I want to show you 7 types of people you should never help. At least, not in the way you're used to. People who, if you don't have wisdom, can drain your strength, distort your faith, and distance you from what God really wants to do in your life. 1. The person who rejects correction. This is the most difficult of all. You speak with love, you guide, you show the way, but she simply doesn't want to listen. She prefers error to learning. She prefers pride to transformation. Proverbs says, "Do not rebuke a mocker, or he will hate you. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love you." In other words, there are people who are offended by advice because they don't want to change. Helping someone who despises teaching is like trying to plant in dry soil. Pray for her, yes, but understand, some only learn when they reap the bitter fruit of their own choices. God uses time and consequences to teach what our words cannot. 2. The lazy person. You offer opportunities, they offer excuses. They want the harvest, but never plant. They want the result, but not the process. The Bible is clear. If anyone is not willing to work, let him not eat. When you support the lazy person, what seems like help is, in fact, a prison. You feed the complacency and prevent it from growing. Those who live on easy help lose the pleasure of achievement. Help, yes, but in a way that awakens responsibility, not dependence. Give tools, not crutches. Teach the way, but don't carry those who refuse to walk. 3. The mocker of holy things. This type is treacherous. Some laugh at faith, despise what is sacred, and make fun of what you believe. You try to help, try to show love, but deep down, they only want to destabilize your faith. Jesus was clear. Do not give what is holy to dogs, nor cast your pearls before swine. This is not a lack of love. It is spiritual wisdom. To love is not a mix. To love is to pray from a distance, to protect the heart while entrusting the outcome to God. You don't need to argue with those who mock the truth. Silence, sometimes, speaks louder than any argument. 4. The kindness manipulator. This person knows you have a good heart and uses it against you. They cry, promise to change, ask for another chance, but always come back to use you. They don't want help, they want control. And the worst part, they make you feel guilty for saying no. But understand, God didn't call you to be anyone's doormat. He called you to serve with purpose, not to live imprisoned by emotional blackmail. Helping the manipulator is reinforcing their game, and God doesn't bless relationships based on deceit. Free yourself, set boundaries, and allow time and the Holy Spirit to heal this person's heart. Sometimes, the best help you can give is simply to walk away. 5. The division maker. This is the person who is never satisfied. Every time they show up, they bring gossip, discord, intrigue. They sow doubt, separate friends, destroy relationships, and then pretend they have nothing to do with it. The Bible is firm. Avoid a divisive person after warning him once or twice. Those who sow discord don't want peace. They want the spotlight. Helping someone who spreads division is like putting out a fire with gasoline. You can love them, but you don't need to participate in the conflict. Pray for them. Wish them well, but protect yourself, because peace is also a gift that needs to be guarded. 6. The ungrateful person. You give your best, offer time, advice, resources, and receive indifference. The ungrateful person believes that everything is the obligation of others. They become so accustomed to being helped that they no longer recognize the value of kindness. And when you continue to help, they learn that they can use you without limits. But true love is not blind. It also knows when to stop. Sometimes, the greatest act of love is letting the person miss what they never valued, because it is only when absence arrives that many understand the value of presence. Gratitude reveals the heart, and gratitude reveals character. 7. The one who refuses the truth. This is the most dangerous of all. You speak with love, show the word, share experiences, but he chooses to continue in error. He hears, but does not listen. He sees, but does not perceive. And the more you try to help, the more he drags you along. There are times when God simply says, let go. Not for lack of love, but for lack of understanding. Love, because there are lessons that only the desert teaches, and there are hearts that only change when they hit rock bottom. God is the one who transforms, not your effort nor your insistence. Conclusion: helping is a gift, a reflection of divine compassion. But without discernment, this gift can become a prison. True love knows when to embrace and when to let go. It knows when to speak and when to be silent. Pray, help, serve, but with wisdom. Because the same God who commands you to love your neighbor also commands you to guard your heart. And sometimes, guarding your heart is the greatest act of faith you can have. Not everyone needs your help. Some need God's silence to learn the value of grace.